Well, a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Barcelona. We are back. It's the final round here of the GTOpen Championship, round 5 here. The very last chance to dance. We've already crowned a champion, but nevertheless, we've got a race win up for grabs here around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. Track length, 4.675 kilometers, 2.905 miles. Opened back, broke ground on the 24th of February, 1989, to then open on the 10th of September, 1991. 16 corners is what awaits the drivers. Alex Fontana is the man on top, but look who's back. Christopher Zirkling joining him alongside. We haven't seen him since Paul Ricard, of course, raced yesterday, but nevertheless starts on the front row ahead of Dirk Schouten and yesterday's AM winner, Johan Viñez. My name is George Morgan. I'm your commentator here this afternoon. Joining me in the commentary box, the esteemed Ian Silvestrin. Ian, we go again.
We certainly do. Buenos dias a todos. Bienvenidos to Barcelona. That's about the most I can make of the Spanish language. Our hosts here for the final round of the championship. It is a Swiss star on pole position. The GDL racing team locking out the front row of the grid after a pretty interesting qualifying session this morning. A lot of interest on this car 67 into the gravel in the first lap yesterday, and they were a lap down. They were quick though. They'll have another chance here. This is the final round of 2022.
It certainly is. We are literally around the corner from the end, but we've got one race to get through. Dirk Schouten, of course, getting ready to get going. Still yet to score a race win this season, but qualifies extremely well. Has been pole position on numerous occasions. Here's another car that contests for wins, of course, in the AM category. Johan Viñez, who brought it home yesterday. This time he starts here in this race, race 2. In this Spanish weekend. Of course, this will close out certainly the GTOpen Championship. Jan Larison, one who has won the title. He is confirmed champion of the GTOpen, but I'm sure he would like to finish out on top as well. Qualified into 5th spot. Obviously looking for a bit of an upturn in his fortunes. The AM champion, John de Wilder. Great to see him back at it as well. Enjoying the temperatures. He's enjoyed the championship. Such an esteemed driver across many echelons of world motorsport. Has driven Porsches for such a long time and a champion in various other competitions as well in his own right. Such a great CV. Nicholas van Dierendonk, another man who's been battling in the midfield as well. We saw him yesterday taking position after position. Had a very active qualifying session today. He qualifies mid-pack in 7th place. 8th goes to Sven van Leer. Now, great to see the Belgian up at the top end as well. He's in fact in the mid part, battling alongside Nicholas van Dierendonk as part of the AM contingent. And does qualify ahead, though, of Christa Jons, who is also a very tasty competitor. But plenty of spectators here in Spain. The sunshine glazing as we take a look at the drone pictures here of the start-finish straight. Wonderful scenes here at Barcelona. As I said, the sun is shining. At least it's better than the fog we had yesterday morning, Ian.
And the rain we had in Monza 3 weeks ago, of course. Yep. Beautiful conditions. The rain in Spain does not fall here in Barcelona this weekend.
Absolutely not.
As we take a look at the grid for you, 25 degrees Celsius, add 10 to that for the track temperature. The Michelin tyres won't take long to get up to temperature for this, the final race of the season. Yesterday, Alex Fontana from pole position led the field down into turn 1. And then all hell broke loose. They were 3 wide into the first corner. Martini on the outside, wouldn't find the wall, but went straight into the gravel, was extracted. John de Wilder lucky to avoid the stranded Porsche. That brought out the safety car. Martini did rejoin, but a lap down. From there, Alex Fontana was virtually untouchable. Another aggressive, strong race from John de Wilder. He may well be one to beat here in the final race of the weekend. Jan Larison did not win his 8th race of the season. Came home in position 2 as Johan Viñez was passed on the penultimate lap of the race by the Dutchman Dirk. And with that, would finish P3, Viñez 4 with the AM victory. Fontana taking victory in race 1 here in Barcelona. Jan Larison finished P2 yesterday, and with that has wrapped up the championship ahead of Dirk Schouten, Lucas Valkyrie, John de Wilder P3. George, I'm tipping a really strong race here from John de Wilder this weekend. Alex Fontana leads the field away from pole position. The grid looks like this. Fontana out of grid 1, yesterday's race winner, alongside his GDL Racing teammate Christopher Zirkling. Dirk, the Dutchman, Shelton, out of grid 3, along with the driver from Andorra, Joan Binez, out of grid 4. Porsches dominate the top half of the grid. Jan Lauritsen, the newly crowned champion, is alongside John de Wilde. May put in a stunning performance here in the last race of the season. Nicholas van Dierendonk and Sven van Laude. You could be forgiving up until this point for thinking it is a Porsche Cup race. Christa Johns and Camille Pedian, P5 yesterday for the Romanians. Anthony Jordan, P7 in the GT4 Toyota Supra alongside Milan Delat. Stefano Zerbi, Jahid Fazel Karim in the 007 Aston Martin out of grid 14, and Eugenio Pisani, the 2017 Italian GT champion, 2 times deleted in qualifying, and therefore starts
I'm
on
really
the back of the
happy,
grid.
not only for the result for the team, that was a 1-2 with Christopher as well putting the sister car in second place, but also because we did some set of changes in the cup cars. There is not a lot you can do, so fine-tuning is very important, especially like in series like Euro Formula with the same Formula 3 or in these cup cars. So the little things that you can change to make an advantage are really important, and GDL really prepared the car well today.
The safety car on the circuit, the lights are off. We will race at the end of this one. Alex Fontana, certainly the driver to beat, the 30-year-old Swiss driver. Look at Dirk Schouten in the background, laying down 2 big black rubber strips. Warming up the Michelin, starting from the second row of the grid. George on tipping a really good strong run from John de Wilde. He's had a really good aggressive start in every cup race in 2022. But Alex Fontana, indeed his GDL Racing teammate, Christopher Zirkling, they are certainly the drivers to beat. This is the last race of 2022.
I mean, what a force they have right at the front. GDL very well represented at the front end of the grid order, of course. We've got Christopher Zirkling, obviously looking to try and power on and gain himself a huge advantage leading in towards turn 1. Obviously, Alex Fontana is going to be the one to worry about as well. He's starting on pole position, obviously very confident that they're going to produce something brilliant here, certainly on the final day, the final race of the season. Now as the safety car peels on through, you can see them running side by side. Further back, Dirk Schouten as well, who is right in behind as they now round the final corner at New Holland. The lights glowing red, they'll soon glow green as they round it through the final race of the GT Cup Open, and it's pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Alex Fontana getting a great launch as well, but certainly alongside him Christopher Zirkling. Look at the challenge as well. Look at this, Joan Binez trying to find his way around the outside, as well as Dirk Schouten, who is right in behind with Jan Lauritsen in towards turn 1. It's Fontana on top. Fontana still leads as they venture through the initial corners. Dirk Schouten with a brilliant move in towards P3. Sensational. Binez drops down. Lauritsen stays where he is. Schouten up into the top 3. What a great start for Dirk Schouten there.
Certainly means business here this afternoon. A clean start for the GT Cup Europe final here in Barcelona. As predicted, John de Wilde looking to make the moves through, but Dirk Schouten in position 3, GDL Racing, 1-2 on the grid and 1-2 in the opening stages of the final lap, or the final race of 2022. Milan Delat going through. Just behind the pole, Anthony Chodson. There is Dirk, the Dutchman, ahead of the newly crowned Belgian champion, Jan Lauritsen. They come up the hill for the first time in this 50-minute race here this afternoon.
Yeah, certainly at the moment, Fontana leads the way. As we look further down, you can see the battle ongoing midway through. Obviously, John de Wilde also trying to get into the mix on Eugenio Pisani. Van Dierendonk still there in 6th place. Binez, after getting a little unseated at the start, still finds his way around. The Aus Motorsport car of Christy Jons also finding his way around in 10th place. He's got Van Leer down in P11, looking to try and challenge him too, as we now see the cars wind up through Bank Saint-Bedel. And it looks like Camille Perrien just getting it a little bit wrong, heading up through Bank Saint-Bedel now, as we're now seeing the cars go on their way through now. Fontana leads, in behind Christopher Zirkling. Then in behind we have Dirk Schouten as well as Jan Lauritsen. Joan Binez then in behind too, with Van Dierendonk, who's in 6th place too, as they round this final corner now, as they make their way down the long straight. Obviously still a long way to go before they then venture in towards turn 1. Van Dierendonk still there as well in behind Pisani, who goes hunting now, right down the inside, goes side by side with that of Nicholas van Dierendonck in towards turn 1. Will it be P6 for Pisani? It is! He gets ahead there as well, ahead of van Dierendonck. Pisani moves up a place, 1.4 seconds behind Joan Viñez. Well executed.
Runs wide at the exit though, the Italian champion, the Italian GT champion, but has gone through. He's sideways on the exit, already starting to burn out those Michelin tyres. Pisani up into P6 from Van Dierendonck. There's John de Ville there just behind. Head of Camille Podium. They were P5, the Romanians, yesterday, and second in class. So a good clean start for the final race of 2022. There is Chris de Jans in the background, behind the Romanian, ahead of Sven van Lorde. Milan de Laat goes ahead of Anthony Jodson, the two trophy class GT4 cars, as Alex Fontana now with 1.2 seconds over his German teammate on your screen, Christopher Zirkling, Dirk Schouten. Well, can the Dutchman, Dirk, do anything about the GDL Racing Porsches? Porsches dominating here. They're what, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, right down to Chris de Jans in the Audi in position 10.
Yeah, absolutely right. Chris de Jans there in 10th place, just 7/10 in behind Camille Perrien. Van Leer down in 11th spot with Milan de Laat in 12th place, 2.1 seconds behind that of Van Leer. Sven Van Leer representing the AM category, still with a little bit of work to do though, 8.5 tenths near enough in behind that of Chris de Jans in the Aus Motorsport Audi R8 LMS as they now make their way through this next section. And still Fontana leads. He's brought the gap up to 1.6 now, as we're in or nearing inwards towards the 46-minute mark. There we see him behind now, moves being made further down. As you can see, John de Wilder sizing up a move on Nicholas van Dierendonck. Chris de Jans going ahead of Camille Perrien for that 9th place as well. So we now have a look at pictures, just as Jan Larison tries to get closer and closer to Dirk Schouten, who got the most amazing jump possible off the line. Schouten getting into the top 3 and managing to pounce right when he needed it most. Then you see the view from the garage as well, as we see the cars make their way around. That was Lucas Valcro we saw in our picture there. Fastest lap for Alex Fontana. Oh, okay. That's Chris de Jans taking a detour off the circuit and severe damage to the front end as well. Just look at that front left. Bodywork missing off the car, beached into the gravel trap. He did overtake Camille Perrien for a short while, but has obviously got it wrong somewhere.
It's down into turn 1, George.
Incredible moment indeed. Yellow flag in turn 1. We'll have to wait and see whether that does become a safety car. And it is. There we go. Magic word spoken. Safety car it is.
So Chris de Jans was charging up through the field. The former Bathurst 12-hour winner. And, he's had a failure. The front right's gone.
Goodness me, yeah. Do you know what? Camille Perrien was so lucky. I mean, that could have had... Oh, wow.
Smack into the wall.
That is some contact. That is a severe crash. Just think of the amount of force is applied when you go into that tyre barrier. No brakes, straight into the tyre barrier. Deary me. That will certainly rattle your cage a little bit. Great to see him walking out.
I'm not sure that was a puncher. It looked as though he's had a bizarre right front failure.
Yeah.
The car did not stop. That was unusual, to say the least. Fortunately, the tyre barrier did do the job superbly.
Yeah.
A big impact, but structurally, the car actually, and I know this is a relative statement, the car does not actually look too bad, considering he was braking, I'm just looking at the top speeds, previously around 260 k's an hour, down to 0. The tyre barrier has done its job superbly, but the Audi is out.
If you consider the shape of the car, like you say, you know, the amount of force that was applied behind that crash, the tyre barrier, you're absolutely spot on, absolutely doing its job. The car remaining relatively intact, a little bit of, cosmetic damage here and there, but nevertheless, great to obviously see it working well. But obviously, heartbreak for Chris de Jans, obviously making their appearance here at Spain, at Barcelona, for the final round of the GTOpen Championship. Jan Larison, your champion, currently sat in P4 behind Dirk Schouten. Further down, you can see Joan Viñez and Eugenio Pisani marking his return here as well, as they round the next right-hander. And in behind, you got Nicholas van Dierendonck, John de Wilder, your AM champion, as well in P8. Not having it the easiest of days, though, because, of course, he's been battling a lot with the likes of Viñez, not to mention van Dierendonck. De Wilder, though, did look like he was the faster of the bunch.
He's made some really good, strong, aggressive starts in the past few rounds. Something has broken off the front right.
Yeah.
You can see debris just
fly
before.
off.
Yes.
The car seemed to veer to the right-hand side as he was looking at it.
I'm going to suspect, George, that our right front brake disc has potentially exploded there. Straight ahead, no brakes. That's not a puncher. With a puncher, you can wipe off some degree of speed there. Smack into the wall. breaking down from well over 250 k's an hour down to 0 through the gravel, which does do the job. Had that have been bitumen, we won't get into the track limits conversation, but the gravel has worked, as has the tyre barrier. And thankfully, most importantly, the former Bathurst 12-hour winner from, 2012, he took the title with Phoenix Racing in the Audi. This Audi is now ruined. He's out of the race, but he is okay.
Yeah, great to see him walk away from that one. Obviously, that just goes to show a statement as to how well these cars are built. And naturally, it does look like it was a brake failure of sorts, because the car did not slow down entering that gravel trap, which is very seldom seen nowadays, certainly given the technology behind a lot of these brilliant GT Cup Open cars. Obviously, very much dominated with Porsches, much like the top end right now. Fontana leading the charge right now on his return to the GT Cup. Great to see him here as well. Obviously, a rich pedigree in the world of GT racing, GT3, GT4, whatever you want to call it. Christopher Zirkling is there as well, who has also been very accomplished too. Zirkling, who we hadn't seen since Paul Ricard, sensational all season. Well, whenever we've seen him, he was brilliant at Paul Ricard to land pole position in race 1, finishing second on that occasion, but then winning race 2 on his return. Obviously, he was backed up by his teammate Bashar Mardini, obviously forming part of that conglomerate, taking part this season. And now we see him back here at Barcelona and contending for a race win, but he's got to get past the incomparable Alex Fontana, who is certainly a mighty driver here in this race.
Has driven everything, actually tested for the Lotus Formula One team around about 1 decade ago, has raced Formula E, or tested Formula E, has raced Formula 2, all sorts of GT racing. As the Nissan GTR R35 safety car, there is my one mention of my favourite supercar. So we've got 2 Japanese cars in the field, one without the flashing lights at the moment, or are they on? There is the Audi damaged. And of course, the second mark from the land of the rising sun is the GT4 Supra. Porsches first through to 12th in this, the final race of the season. Actually, the safety car appeared to have the lights off, but the Audi is still stuck in the gravel trap, so I'm suspecting we'll have at least one more lap behind the safety car, even though the lights were out.
Yeah, I would think so. Still under safety car conditions, full course yellow situation, folks. Driver change is on in around 11.5 minutes, so we've still got quite a bit of time before that ticks down, but obviously under safety car conditions, that could seem like a lifetime, given the fact now that Christopher Zirkling has been brought back into proximity of Alex Fontana. It gives him another opportunity to challenge for that P1 spot. Dirk Schuiten also in the mix, and we know how quick he can be, and Jan Larison as well.
Actually, it's just the sun glistening here in Barcelona, a problem we didn't have 3 weeks ago in Monza. The lights are on the
or
safety
yesterday
car.
Morning, for that matter.
Exactly, when the fog delayed proceedings by a good hour and a half. The lights are on. It is so bright here in Spain. Beautiful weather. George, we've announced the 2023 calendar.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if we made a minor adjustment and had every race here in Spain.
Well, it's been a wonderful race, certainly for us. I mean, we've witnessed a great weekend. We've had a great GTOpen race as well. Championships decided across the board. It is certainly featured as a great location for a season finale. Next year, though, we've got lots to look forward to. Obviously, in terms of the GT Cup, we start at Spa-Francorchamps on May the 27th to the 28th. Then following that, we take a trip to Hungary for the Hungara Ring on the 17th to the 18th. Then, of course, July, Paul Ricard. So we've got a 3-long stint of races in that period. So we got July 22nd to the 23rd of Paul Ricard in France. Then it's off to Monza, the Temple of Speed, on September the 23rd to the 24th. And then we've got the season finale once again at Barcelona on October the 21st to 22nd. Amazing to think that that is literally exactly a year's time.
The calendar almost mirroring that of 2022. What is it, October? It's almost Christmas, George.
It is. Have you bought me a present? No? No, forget it then. It's all right.
I'm just getting over New Year's 2021,
You're
22.
bottom of the friends list now. No, joking.
I tell you what, can I throw in another mention of the R35, a 1/18th scale model of that machine will go nicely under the Christmas tree, or that of the Supra.
Yeah.
You could be forgiven, however, for thinking this is a Porsche Cup race, because the Porsches are first through to 11th. Milan Delat has got ahead of Anthony Chodson in the Supra.
Yeah.
Young Milan in P11, but the manufacturer from Stuttgart locking out the top 10 in the final race of the season. And of course, with the demise of the Audi GT4 just a few moments ago, we are down one, down to the 14 here in Barcelona. There is Camille Podium, Florin Tincescu. That car is a work of art. and they came home P5 yesterday, second in class as well.
Yeah, the drivers have been encouraged to drive to the right-hand side at turn 2. Obviously, that's got to be something to do with the debris that might have come away from that specific incident. Obviously, some of the gravel might have found its way out onto the track as well, so they've got to make sure that it's up for racing conditions. And in fact, it might be due to the fact that the car itself is actually stranded on the left-hand side. So stick to the right, avoid the marshals at all costs, and therefore make sure that safety is absolute.
And also dropping fluid as well.
Absolutely right as well. Obviously brake fluid, oil, anything like that, it can certainly be very, very risky around those bends. Certainly considering how fast-paced they are, because we've seen them fly through the Elf curves heading up through towards Renault, so you do need to be very careful, certainly under safety car circumstances, especially if there's liquids on the track. Fontana, though, in front, and could once again add yet another win to his locker. And well, I've got to say, an amazing qualifying session he managed to pull off. Christopher Zirkling looking to come back with a race win himself. Dirk Schuiten, who would like to get his first win of the season. I can't believe I'm saying that. Still yet to get his first win, despite an incredible string of qualifying performances.
Well, he's ahead of the championship leader or winner, Jan Loris, and that was his main rival throughout 2022. But the problem for Dirk, the Dutchman, is that GDL Racing have arrived here in Barcelona with those two Porsches running 1 and 2, and they've both got some star drivers behind the wheel. Here is Eugenio Pisani, the 2017 Italian GT champion, racing in the Carrera Cup Series, also in his home country, and various other national series as well. So Pisani up into P6, Q1 track racing versus GDL Racing. Q1 track racing now that the Bell Car Racing Series has finished up in the Belgium and Netherlands, or in the Benelux region. They're here with 6 cars here this weekend for the season final here at Circuit de Barcelona, here in Catalonia, Spain.
Yeah, I've got to say, just looking at Dirk Schuiten's record here around this circuit, he's only finished outside the top 3 once, and that was race 1 at Monza, where he finished 6th on the classification. Some incredible string of results, certainly for Dirk Schuiten. One of the most steadiest hands, as well as his teammate Lucas Valkra. They have definitely delivered for their Team Q1 track racing here this season. They arrive here at Barcelona with a little bit of a challenge on their hands, but Dirk Schuiten already getting them back in to the top 3. So Lucas Valkra will have a lot to look forward to when he takes over the wheel later on, when the driver change window opens in just over 6.5 minutes time. Obviously we've got lots to decipher prior to that point. We've got the safety car ruling still underway, yellow flags being waved by the stewards and the marshals, should I say, as we now watch the cars now still aggressively warming up those tyres. So important that they keep the temperature up here, Ian, because as soon as you lose it, then you're at risk, obviously, because if the car behind you has managed to maintain the temperature, they can easily spring upon you when the restart happens.
We've seen that throughout GT Cup and GTOpen, as the safety car will pull into pit lane at the end of this lap. We've seen that not actually causing an incident, running off the road, but just missing the apex and allowing the following car to go through and take advantage. As you look at Joan Binez from Andorra, position 5, car 13, was running in P2 for much of the race yesterday. The driver with a wealth of experience, not only on track, but also in the European Rally Championship as well. Here is Dirk, car 53, sharing this with Lucas Valkre, the Dutch-French combination for the Belgian team. As the safety car still with the lights on. I'm sure it did not have the lights on when it went out onto the circuit. I'm trying to justify my error earlier on in the race.
Well, I'm not
Maybe they heard us and said, oi, a message, put the lights on.
Is Ian trying to justify his comments earlier on? But nevertheless, we'll wait and see.
Unsuccessfully.
Yeah, absolutely right. We're now watching the cars make their way up through Verth Curve. They're going to make their way very shortly around Campsa Corner. There you see the safety car with the lights on, might I add, making its way around the next try-hander. In behind, we've got Alex Fontana and Christopher Zirkling in second, Dirk Schuiten in third, Jan Larison as well in fourth place, Joan Binez in fifth as well, Eugenio Pisani in sixth, Nicholas van Durendonk in seventh as well. The top AM driver, Joan Binez, here in this classification as well. Not forgetting John de Wilder, the current AM champion as well, has scored the championship this season in that category. 8th currently out on track. 3rd in terms of the AM category right now on track, as we now see Fontana now aggressively weaving, making sure the temperature's up in those tyres. But look at Christopher Zirkling, literally not leaving the rear. Look how close he is to the back of Fontana, any closer and they will kiss, literally coming through the Europe car corner. Looking behind as well, Dirk Schuiten as well, looking to try and find his way through. What about Jan Larison too, as they now come down into the final few bends, the chicane RACC. There's Christa Jons. taking the walk back after that incident, heading through turn 1. Here comes Fontana. Green flags now away. Fontana peels off around New Holland, and it's pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now. Fontana gets going, circling in second place, goes after him, Schouten in third, 4/10 in behind now. Larison as well in fourth, with Vignez getting off, didn't get the best of jumps. Out the restart, but has Pisani currently showing in his mirrors. And what about this from John de Wilder? Into turn 1, had a look on Nicholas van Dierendonck, just a little bit too far back, but he did have a look nonetheless, Ian.
John de Wilder will be frustrated after some stunning restarts at Monza in the rain. Stuck back there in behind Nicholas van Dierendonck in position 8. Going very wide off the circuit, Eugenio Pisani. But brings it back on the circuit in car 44 in position 6. Doesn't lose a position to Van Dierendonck or the aforementioned John de Wilde. Camille Perrion, the Romanian, in the background in position 9. Sven Van Lotte rounds out the 10. Good restart here, and already after we clean up the mess from that big crash down into turn 1, we're already just 3 minutes away from the pit stop window opening in this, the final race of 2022.
Yep, just a hair's breadth from that driver change window opening up now. There you saw Juan Vignez now making his way, and Van Dierendonck just in 7th place, just in behind him a second back now. That's actually been strung out to Pisani, actually a second back from Vignez. So the group start to string outwards as we once again see the cars work their way up through the next portion of this circuit. Look at Jan Larison getting so close to the back of Dirk Schouten. These two have been dueling it out all season long, and look at this, pushing around Dirk Schouten through the next right, heading in towards Europe car before they then tackle the chicane RACC. Alex Fontana still leads the way, 9/10 now behind is Christopher Zirkling, with Dirk Schouten now a second behind him. But look at Jan Larison as they come around the final corner at New Holland. He looks so quick right now as they come through this final corner, and he'll stay within the slipstream of his fellow Porsche counterpart as they now head down now this long straight in towards Elf Curve, 2/10 of a second. And there you can see Juan Font looking on as Juan Vignez looks to go forward. There you see now Jan Larison patiently waiting, opted not to go for the move in towards turn 1 and 2, but I get the feeling that Dirk Schouten's number might be up sooner rather than later. Just look at the pressure that Larison is mounting here.
The two Q1 track racing teammates, the reigning champion behind Dirk Schouten, Milan Delat going through the Supra up onto 2 wheels. Oh wow, spectacular from Anthony Johnson.
That's what we like to see, certainly here in the GT Cup. I tell you what, dramatics from the Supra, as now we see the cars now venture in towards C curve. Just look at Dirk Schouten there, he's literally being followed toe for toe by Jan Larison, your GT Cup Open champion. Starting to put the pressure on now, Dirk Schouten. Of course, you've scored, as I said before, multiple pole positions here this season, multiple podiums, only been out of it once. And of course, being race 1 at Monza as they now fly through the Kamsa corner. Jan Larison just literally trying to match him toe for toe. They head down through towards turn 10 now. Turn 11 will soon follow that. There you see Fontana circling. A second separates them. There you see Schouten as well. Larison now once again 3/10 in behind that of his fellow Porsche as they now rise up through back Sambadel. Round this next right, hugging every single apex, hitting every curve, making sure they're making the most of this brilliant Spanish circuit that has offered so much in so many years. The home of the Spanish Grand Prix. It's also offered plenty in the world of GT sport. It comes through now into the final chicane RACC to yet again begin another lap after New Holland corner, and still Dirk Schouten trying to defend against the imposing, the champion Jan Larison as they head down this next straight now. And certainly Larison looks very quick. You can see defending now, waving Dirk Schouten, trying to avoid the overtake, try and break the air, try and break the slipstream, but switching now. Fontana once again, Larison trying to make the move. He could not execute. Schouten doing enough to keep him at bay.
Fabulous stuff as we see the pit stop window open, and diving down into pit lane first of all is Laurent van der Velde. That was reminiscent of a touring car sprint race here in Barcelona between the two Q1 track racing teammates, and interestingly they're not letting neither Fontana or Zirkling race away.
Here we go. The first change is Laurent van der Velde and Sven van Leer swapping over. Van der Velde will now take the seat. You can just see him being strapped in now. And there you see once again, look at Larison. He is not giving up one bit. Dirk Schouten knows what's at stake as well. Obviously P3 out on track, wants to try and get back in the podium places as they now venture up through towards Wirth Curve. This very uphill, large, gargantuan uphill climb. Here's a replay. Oh, here we go. Stefano Zerbi with the Spinala. It looked like he was going to hold it, but no, not quite. The Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car finding its way around at the chicane as well. A little flash here from what looks to be Jan Larijsen as they now round the turn 10 in towards turn 11. Further up you can see now as well Dirk Schouten as they now make the climb once again through Bank Sambadel. Oh, hugging the inside here, big chance now for Jan Larijsen. He spotted an entry and now they run side by side into Europe car. Jan Larijsen now trying to usurp that of Dirk Schouten. He's not giving up though as they make contact heading into the chicane, but Larijsen far too much. The champion moves into P3.
The two teammates, I think they both would have enjoyed that with nothing left to lose in the 2022 season, and the 2022 GT Cup champion Jan Larijsen goes on through into position 3. Fontana only at 1.5 seconds ahead of Zirkling, and then the driver on your screen, Larijsen, as we see John de Wilde, who is doing the race solo. He's come down into pit lane, pitting from position 8. Dirk Schouten back into P4. John de Wilde down into pit lane, and you can see the exaggerated entry as they make the time stop. Also, Tincescu and Camille Perriand, they will change over. Anthony Chodson also doing the race solo. There is the red and white GT4 spec Supra. Pulls down into pit lane. The former Dubai 24-hour winner, winning that race in a Maserati of all things. Yeah. In fact, it was the Golf 12-hour, I'm sorry. The Dubai 24-hour was a different event. Of course, it was the Golf 12-hour. That is held at the Yas Marina circuit.
Yeah, Aston Martin coming in as well, the 007, and that making its way in. Julian Darris will take the hot seat on that occasion. Milan Delat also jumping up now into P8 as a result of the pit stops. Julian Darris, there you can see, now about to venture into the car. You can just see them aggressively working hard to get the necessaries on the vehicle so they can get straight back out. There we can see Jan Larijsen, fresh from that brilliant overtake on Dirk Schouten, rubbing shoulders, and here's the replay. What a moment, and Dirk Schouten for a moment didn't look like he was going to give up, but I think he felt that it was a lost cause heading down into the next chicane. Did well to try and fight back, but realised that it wasn't to be as they headed through the chicane. Did well though to stay on the tail of Jan Larijsen, but I suppose that's exactly why he's this season's champion.
And a latecomer to racing as well. He hasn't been karting since the age of, well, primary school. Lives a very full life, does Jan Larijsen. Only took up car racing a few seasons ago. He is the champion. As we see Alex Fontana, who's looking to go a perfect weekend here in Barcelona. Pole position, race 1 victor yesterday, and looking to go 2 days in a row. Also the 53 car, Lucas Valkro, to take over from Dirk Schouten. Dirk gets out. The Dutchman hands it over to Lucas. Q1 track racing, as we mentioned, 6 cars here in Barcelona for the championship final, which was won yesterday by Jan Larijsen. Back to the action on track. This is car 13, Joan Pinez, the Andorran, who's elected to stay out, leading the M category, and third outright, GDL Racing. Still in position 1, there's Milan Delat. At the bottom of your screen, a GT4 spec Porsche Cayman car. Had a fabulous race with Anthony Chodson, and indeed the now retired Audi from Alps Motorsport yesterday as well. The Audi is out as we have a look at the French driver. Julian Darris has taken over the wheel of the 007 Jetcraft Aston Martin. As Stefano Zerbi goes down into pit lane, Fabio Fabiani will take over car 9, which is in position 9 at the moment. Joan Pinez, position 3. Here is Alex Fontana at the exit of pit lane, looking good to go 2 in a row here in Barcelona.
Yeah, Christopher Zirkling now taking the lead of the race. Obviously still yet to box to replace himself with Bashar Mardini, but he will remain out and about. But there you can see now Fontana out on track and just getting ahead there as well. I believe that's John de Wilde, who is just in behind him. In fact, there he is, car number 56. And alongside him there you can see Fontana now making his way around the Renault curve. Chodson now up into 10th because Fabiani is in the pit bay, along with Van der Velde goes up, so does Tincescu. In comes now Jan Larijsen, your champion. The Belgian now getting ready for his pit stop. Of course, he's riding solo in this one. And they'll do the necessaries to the car, open the door, a little bit of fluids. A very warm day here as well. And in comes Joan Vinales as well, ready for Juan Font to take the helm. And of course, currently leading the AM contingent. Of course, Nicholas van Dierendonk could yet take the P4 on track as things stand. So we've got 3 cars in the pit lane as things stand as well. Jan Larijsen, as well as Wame Font and Fabio Fabiani.
Make that 2 because Fabiani has just rejoined.
Just left. Yeah, there we go. Right on cue. As now we're watching the cars now make their way down towards turn 10 and turn 11. Of course, now Anthony Chodson at the helm of this Supra once again. And here is the car 66 belonging to Fontana, effectively your net leader of this race. I'd imagine that he will now burst past the likes of Juan Font, who is currently in the pit lane, as well as Jan Larijsen. Could be quite interesting, actually, because Larijsen should be jumping out of his pit bay very soon. As we now watch Fontana make his way down through the next chicane. Just trying to keep my eyes peeled as to what might be going on in that pit lane. Looks like Larijsen's already gone. So as we now see Fontana burst down this long straight, where's this going to put him? Because, of course, Font also in the pits as well. They're going to be on their outlap very shortly. Are they going to see the cars venturing out onto the track now? Larijsen now officially on his outlap. Down comes Van Dierendonck as well. Larijsen there in the mix. He splits the difference between Font and, of course, De Wilde. Larijsen has actually settled in behind De Wilde as well. So Fontana holding on to that 4th place has done brilliantly to make that pit stop work for him. Obviously, Van Dierendonck, as it stands, currently leads this race in terms of the net advantage. He's already stopped, so he effectively is leading this race.
Christopher Zorkling, who was leading the race officially, gee, they were cutting it fine. We're down to 40 seconds before the pit stop window closed. As we see the 44 Porsche down in pit lane as well. So Basha Mardini, the Kuwaiti, will take over the wheel of the 67 GDL Racing Porsche. It was right at the end of the window. It's only, what, 22 seconds until the driver change window closes. We also see Stefano Zanini. They pit out of 2nd position. Stefano to take over the wheel from Eugenio Pisani, who had a good first strong stint to the final race of the season. There's just over 20 minutes to race in 2022. We go back to Alex Fontana, the 30-year-old Swiss driver in car 66, a class act all weekend, and he comes up behind, looks to be Nicolas Van Dierendonck. It is, not to confuse him, the silver Porsches, with the 2nd GDL racing car, Van Dierendonck in position 3. This is a battle for position, not anymore, because Alex goes down the inside. And that's a nice move from Alex Fontana. He gets the job done, and he goes up into position 3. Van Dierendonck back into 4th place. Basha Mardini comes out of the pit lane and may take the overall lead. So it's not as easy as it was yesterday, or seemingly not going to be. Of course, the 67 car in the gravel yesterday, they were a lap down. Alex Fontana is in 3rd place. Martini takes the lead. This was a nice move to go down the inside into the chicane. Nicolas Van Dierendonck on the outside, and Alex Fontana makes the move under brace, goes in deep through the chicane and picks up position 3. This is now the race leader from Kuwait in the Middle East, Basha Mardini.
Yeah, he's going to be tasked to bring this home, of course. 8.4 seconds in front of Stefano Zanini, who is a Porsche Cup Sport champion as well back in 2021. Porsche Carrera Cup Italy, he ran in 2016-17. Not to mention the Seat Leon Super Cup at Italy back in 2014 and 15. So essentially, he's been busy on the scene, certainly when it comes to motorsport, for many, many years, and is certainly now taking the helm in 2nd place. Fontana in 3rd as well. Van Dierendonck, who I've got to say, despite the overtake from Fontana, he did well to give the space to at least try and challenge in towards the chicane. Nevertheless, it was just the fact that he was just too good on this occasion, Fontana. But at the same time, as Fontana now overtakes Zanini for 2nd place on track, Van Dierendonck, leading the AM contingent, has a great chance to score a big result here this time.
Stefano Zanini will watch the 44 Porsche. They've been quick throughout the season. Former single maker racer racing in the Carrera Cup Italy, Stefano Zanini. On your screen in car 44, right behind him, Nicolas Van Dierendonck. So this is the battle for position 3 in the final race of the season. Van Dierendonck is an AM driver. Stefano Zanini in the Pro-Am class. They go down into turn 1 at over 260 k's an hour down the inside. Stefano Zanini in car 44 tries to make the move. Van Dierendonck goes ahead, and here comes John Deville there. Well, he saves his best for last. John de Wilde in car 56 up the inside as Zanini runs wide. Nicely done by John de Wilde. Takes the place as they run into Repsol curve.
That was a wonderful move indeed there from John de Wilde, taking advantage, heading through Renault, finding it through Repsol as well, and solidifying his position up in P6 as well, or in P5 should I say, as they then work their way forward. You can see the movements already, the movers and shakers. De Wilde in fact in 8th place, as you're seeing it on track. Kwame Font in 7th. We're now looking, Jan Larijsen in 4th, Van Dierendonk still holding on to 3rd. Larijsen closing him down though, 8/10 away. As we can now see Van der Velde in 8th spot now, 13.3 seconds in behind Kwame Font. Delat now, Malan Delat.
Sorry, George, safety car is out on the circuit.
Yeah, I think John de Wilde has had an issue. He's dropping down through the field. He's down into 12th. He's fallen from what was 8th fastest. I was watching the car career downwards. We just saw him earlier on making a really good move, but then all of a sudden, a little issue has occurred, and we've got a safety car out on track. Here is the... Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
Now, we saw something similar earlier on, of course, didn't we, with the House Motorsport Audi careering into the barrier as well. Is that at turn 1 as well?
It is, down into turn 1, almost a replay of what occurred on the second lap of the race with Christa Jans. Into the wall, bang, big time at speed. Remember, they are doing over 250 k's an hour, almost certainly brake failure for the House Motorsport Audi. And now John de Wilde has had no luck in 2022, ends his season in the wall. That was a big hit. And again, the gravel trap in the tyre barrier doing its job.
Yeah, wonderful job indeed. The safety car now back out on track. They'll have the crane brought back out again for John de Wilde's car. A very sorry end to what has been a brilliant season for John de Wilde. Has certainly delivered on many an occasion, not to mention scoring the AM Championship, as we said before. So a big congratulations to John de Wilde on that absolutely sensational feat this season. There you can see the marshals going to work on his car as we see it. And the car's now slowing down. And now we've got a big chance here for Fontana to claim the race win here, because as the packs start to group up again, Fontana, this will be like Christmas to him. Remember, that gap was out by 8 seconds between him and Bashar Mardini. Not anymore. It's 0.8 of a second.
It is a race between the two teammates. It will be when we clear up the Porsche of John de Wilde. Let's hope, first of all, that he is okay. The newly crowned AM champion. There is the newly crowned GTOpen Cup champion, Jan Larijsen, the 38-year-old from Turnhout outside Antwerp in Belgium, the Flemish part of Belgium. That is the Dutch part of Belgium as opposed to the French part of Belgium, where we will race in 2023 at Spa-Francorchamps on the 27th and 28th of May. Expect the Q1 track racing team to be in force for that, the series opener in 2023. But for the moment, our concern is for that of John de Wilde, who's hit the wall hard, almost a replay of what happened to the 88 House Motorsport Audi earlier on in the race.
Yeah, carbon copy near enough, and you do have to wonder whether that was a brake failure at that point. It does get very warm here at Spain as well, so we have seen that the tyres can get overheated. Certainly we saw it in Euro Formula when we were going through the qualifying situation, where the cars would be up on the jacks and they'd be spinning the wheels just a little bit, just to get a little bit of air, a little bit of cooler air into the tyres. Obviously you don't want to burn them up too much, and don't generally see many tyre changes in Euro Formula, and so we see it now in GT Cup. Of course, we've already seen a few changes made already, but more concerns around when this safety car's going to end. A huge opportunity for Fontana to once again get a great result. Mardini still leads the way. Van Dierendonk in 3rd, having a great race so far. Has a big opportunity to win the AM race here. Obviously, Juan Font is in behind him and chasing for that P1 as well. "14 minutes still to go here at this point, still under yellow flag conditions. And Mardini 0.6 ahead, as we're seeing it on screen, though that does not matter under these conditions. Obviously, it's the getaway that they'll be concerned about, but you can see now the cars really working to get the cars back up to temperature, and we'll be back racing very, very soon.
George, the good news is we just heard from race control that John de Wilde was stuck in the car for a moment. He was winded, as you would expect, but he is okay. That is the most important thing, as the safety car leads the field down past the accident scene. Another suspected brake failure. That's bizarre. 2 different manufacturers, so it's not an issue with the same type of car. One Audi, one Porsche. both into the wall with almost identical accidents, but John de Wilde fortunately is okay. And we also saw Krista earlier on in the race walking back, the lonely walk back to pit lane, but fortunately both drivers are okay. So on this lap 17 of race 2, the final race of 2022, the 10th race of the GT Cup season, Basha Mardini has got the race lead by nothing because the safety car has evaporated. A lead of what was 8 seconds back to Alex Fontana, his GDL Racing teammate, who's looking to go 2 from 2. Nicolas van Dierendonck with the newly crowned champion, Jan Lauritsen, breathing down his neck. Stefano Zanini, the Italian, car 44, position 5. Lucas Valkyrie, who took over the wheel from Dirk Shelton. Wamer Font, the Spanish driver, with his Andorran co-pilot, are in position 7 from Laurent van der Velde. Milan Delat, the GT4 Cayman, up into position 9. Florin Tincescu, Anthony Chodson in the Supra, Julian Dadas in the 007 Aston Martin, Fabio Fabiani, the final runner after we lost John de Wilde and Krista Johns in 2 almost identical big accidents in this, the final race of the year.
Yeah, an Audi and a Porsche, as you so rightly say, 2 different manufacturers. The safety car still remains out on track. We are in the 12th minute of racing here. So only a matter of time before we come down towards the latter stages of this race. Mardini still out in front with Fontana, who is just behind him. Van Dierendonck in 3rd. Lauritsen in 4th as well, your champion-elect as well this season as of yesterday. Did it in remarkable fashion as well. 11 and 30 to go, as we're now seeing the cars now round through back Sambadel. Mardini, after exchanging with Christopher Zirklin, of course looking to claim yet another win. And has to be said, it's going to be a stiff task with Alex Fontana in your rear-view mirror, especially given the pace that we know that Fontana has. He put the car on pole coming into this event. So we can see Nicolas van Dierendonck as well in 3rd, who would have probably preferred there not to be a safety car because he did have somewhat of an advantage ahead of Jan Lauritsen. That has now been taken away. So we could see 3 at the top end overall drivers contesting for this race lead. Mardini leads, Fontana in 2nd. Jan Lauritsen 4th, chasing after Van Dierendonck in 3rd, and Zanini in 5th with Lucas Valkyrie stepping in for Dirk Schuiten in that 6th spot. Wamer Font as well in 7th. I tell you what, there's going to be a huge battle, not just for the overall here, Ian, but we've also got a huge AM fight as well.
Certainly, Nicolas van Dierendonck, P3 outright, but leading the AM category. Just having a really good look at the safety car. Yeah, the lights are still on.
Excellent.
I'm still trying to justify that.
Yeah,
the sun is very bright here in Spain.
Yeah, yeah. Any more excuses you want to try and hand out for?
No, I'm thinking I've run out of them. Nicolas van Dierendonck leading the AM category, P3 outright. Wamer Font, the Spaniard on his home circuit on your screen. P2 in the AM category, Laurent van der Velde is a position behind in P8. Milan Delat, again, that is a GT4 spec car. The GT4 entries, we're down one of them with that big crash, the Audi earlier on. And of course the Supra ran coming home in P7 yesterday with Anthony Johnson, the former Golf 12-hour winner, not the Dubai 24-hour winner, although he has raced in that as well. So the R35 safety car leads 3 Porsche GT3. The Cup cars, in fact, a ton of them. There is Milan Delat going through. 3 of the identical colour. The silver machines, 2 from GDL Racing. And Nicolas van Dierendonck also painted silver for Q1 Track Racing. They're in 4th. There is the Supra. There is the Aston just behind. The Jetcraft 007 with the young French driver Julian Dadas. And rounding out the field, Fabio Fabiani. Former motorbike racer, motorcycle racer, motocross racer as well. Fabio Fabiani, also formerly competing in both the World and European Touring Car Championships. Big news overnight with the demise, the forthcoming demise of the WTCR. The writing was on the wall, unfortunately, so there is a lot of movement in the paddock. And you may be asking, what on earth has that got to do with GT Cup? Well, stand by, because already a couple of drivers in WTCR are lining up and eyeing off the GT Cup and GTOpen championships for 2023. Safety car still out on circuit. Here is Julian Dadas. in the 007 Aston Martin. So another lap behind the safety car. It will stay out. Basha Mardini from Kuwait on your screen in position 1. Alex Fontana, P2. It's taking a long time to clear up this incident. Tremendous drone shots here. Once upon a time, we would have said great helicopter work. Time marches on. Fabulous images here at Barcelona, the historic circuit built back in the early 1990s. Prior to that, racing taking place in terms of the Spanish Grand Prix at the Montjuic Park in the centre of Barcelona. And we go way back in time. We go to the Sitges Speedway, which is about 1 hour south of Barcelona, which does still exist in part. There is Florin Tincescu, Milan Dilat in car 2, the Cayman GT4. Anthony Chodson in the Supra up onto 2 wheels in spectacular fashion. A throwback to the good old days of Group A touring car racing, where the Supra did race, it never really did dominate. Took a few wins in the Japanese Touring Car Championship, the MA70 car. Prior to that, the MA60, which raced in the hands of none other than the late, great Barry Sheen in the British Touring Car Championship. The Minolta cars, the famous Minolta cars, racing in not only Japan, but also in the Spa 24-hour race, when it was a race for Group A touring cars, and the Supra is back in GT4. The red and white machine being driven by the pole, currently in position 11, finished in 7th place yesterday. The safety car, the lights are still on for the moment. Still no word from race control. This is taking an awful long time to clear up, to be fair, what was a very big accident for John de Wilde. He was behind the wheel and badly wounded after decelerating from over 250 k's an hour. So Basha Mardini from Kuwait, now boasting one of the finest Grand Prix circuits in the world, the Kuwait Motor Town. How life has changed over there in the Middle East. 30 years ago, their neighbour from nearby Iraq came to visit, and basically all hell broke loose. Now, Kuwait Motor Town about to host the Kuwait 24-hour race for the first time on what is a magnificent facility over there in the Gulf region, joining the likes of Bahrain, the Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina Circuit, which is just incredible. Of course, the Dubai Autodrome and Qatar as well. Racing in the Middle East. That's where Basha Mardini has also raced in the Carrera Cup Middle East. And he's in P1 at the moment, behind the safety car. Again, another lap. So they'll start lap 19. In fact, they'll start lap 20 in a moment, still behind the safety car. Five rounds, 10 races for 2022. Jan Lauritsen, position 4, behind Nicolas van Dierendonck. The series started at Paul Ricard in the south of France before going to Spa-Francorchamps. Hungaroring, that was at Budapest. Monza, a very wet Monza 3 weeks ago, and here for the series final in Barcelona for 2022. 2023, well, the GT Cup kicks off in Spa. That's on the last weekend of May. Budapest, Hungaroring, Paul Ricard once again on the 22nd and 23rd of July. Back to Monza on the 3rd weekend of September. And back here in Barcelona in 53 weeks' time for the 2022 championships. You can check out the official website of GT Sport, also on Facebook and Insta for all the updates. We'd love an update from race control regarding the safety car. The lights are still on. Just less than 4 minutes to race in the final race of 2022. And we are just getting word, there's the update. The race will finish behind the safety car. Wow. So damage to the barrier. There is confirmation on your screen. A race will finish behind the safety car, an anticlimactic finish to 2022, but obviously the barrier could not be repaired in time. Concern for John de Wilde. Fortunately, he is okay. That's the ball game. That is 2022. Basha Mardini will win the race together with Christopher Zirkling, and Alex Fontana is effectively denied the chance to go 2 in a row here in Barcelona. So we may actually have the race called earlier or complete in a procedural manner, the final 2 minutes, 50 seconds. Here behind the safety car, damage to the barrier was irreparable in time after 2 monster crashes, brake failures, we believe, for that John de Vilder's car. And also almost a similar incident of Chris de Jong's. John de Vilder is okay, is being seen by the medical team here in Barcelona. The race will finish by the safety, behind the safety car, Basha Mardini and Christopher Zirkling, the German driver. Well, they will take victory in car 67. GTL Racing will finish 1-2 in the season final here in Spain. Credit to Christopher Zirkling. Drove a really good, strong first part of the race. The 34-year-old Austrian finishing second in the Cup class in the Dubai 24-hour race in 2019, before you know what stopped the world spinning. Also racing in the Carrera Cup in Germany. A few podiums in the past few seasons. Also a few starts in the Mobil 1 Super Cup, so he certainly knows the manufacturer from Stuttgart very well. The Silver Machines, 1, 2 and 3, different teams though. GTL Racing, 1, 2. Q1 track racing in force for the final race of 2022. Just waiting for word from race control. This may well be the final lap. It is. There's confirmation. And the victory will go to the Kuwaiti and the German here in Spain. The final lap of 2022. What a fantastic season it has been, and it's gone oh so quickly. Just looking at that safety car, I'm sure the lights were off early. I'll leave that alone. They are flashing and the lights will stay on because the race will finish behind the safety car. This is the final lap of the season. Basha Mardini and Christopher Zirkling will take victory for GTL Racing. Alex Fontana, pole position, a race win yesterday, and will finish in position 2. And Nicolas van Dierendonck will not only take the victory in the AM category, but also finish 3rd outright here this afternoon. Jan Lauritsen, P4 for the newly crowned champion. He will not mind that after taking victory in the championship in race 1 here in Spain 24 hours ago. Mardini behind the wheel will bring them up to the line. The checkered flag, I can tell you, is being readied here on the start-finish line in Barcelona. So the checkered flag will wave. And the cars will go down the start-finish straight. The safety car will actually pull into pit lane now, we are being told. So a 100-metre sprint, but they cannot pass before the start-finish line, so the order will not change. Safety car pulls into pit lane. Basha Mardini does accelerate. And now that checkered flag does wave. GTL Racing go 1-2. Mardini and Zirkling win the final race of the 2022 GT Cup Europe season. Fontana across the line in position 2. Nicolas van Dierendonck takes the M-Class victory in 3rd place as well. Jan Lauritsen finishes in P4 from Stefano Zanini. Lucas Valkyrie, Wame Font, Laurent van der Velde, Milan Talat. Fabulous weekend for young Milan Talat. joining us for the final race of the series. Milan Talat, coming out of Formula Ford, the young 19-year-old Finnish Belgian driver in the top 10 in a GT4 Cayman. Mardini Zokling take the victory from Alex Fontana. Niklas van Dierendonck with the M-Class victory and P3 overall. Lorison, the newly crowned champion, P4. Pisani Zanini, Lucas Valgred, Dirk Schouten, Wame Font and Joan Vignes, the Andorran. Van der Velde, Van Lorde, Milan Talat with the trophy class victory. And the Romanians in P10, Camille Perian and Tincescu in the 21 Porsche. Anthony Chodson, P11 in the Supra, ahead of Julian Dardas in the 007 Aston Martin, and Fabio Fabiani, together with Stefano Zerbi, the final finishers. Jan Lorison, he wrapped up the championship yesterday. This confirms that he wins it by 30 points over Dirk Schouten, Lucas Valgre, and John de Vilde. Well, not the way he'd like to finish the season, but he does take P3 in the Drivers' Championship. A good weekend here for the Kuwaiti and the German. Basha Mardini will pull car 67 down into pit lane. Alfredo is going to speak to them as soon as they jump out of the car. The final few meters of Barcelona 2022, and the Kuwaiti flashes the lights and takes victory here in Spain. So the season starts in Spa-Francorchamps in May, which gives us just over 6 months to prepare. New drivers, new teams, new cars are on the way. Four manufacturers represented here in the final round of the series. And expect that number to grow in the new year now that the nightmare is over of the past 2 seasons. Great to see the crowd back here in force in Barcelona. Basha Mardini, together with Christopher Zirkling, take victory in the final race of 2022.
Hey, well done. Congratulations.
Awesome pace.
Amazing pace for the safety car.
Yes, perhaps somewhat anticlimactic, but nevertheless, a win is a win. GTO Racing go 1-2 after 2 almost identical crashes, bring out the safety car twice in the final race of 2022.
Good second place.
Is the other driver all right? What happened?
Because the driver didn't reply on the radio, so the doctors came in and he was conscious, but they took everything under safety just to recover the driver. Who's in training right now.
He passed out while driving.
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Does the car
Yes, there is the explanation. Great to hear the other drivers. The first thing they're doing is showing concern for their compatriot, John de Vilde, who is being attended to by the medical team. Third place here in the final race of the season, Niklas van Dierendonck. And he also takes the M-Class victory as well. Alex Fontana, pole position, race 1 victor yesterday. But the safety car intervention denies the Swiss driver going 2 in a row. He finishes in second place. Basha Mardini, together with Christopher Zirkling, take victory in the final race of 2022.
Bashar Mardini, Christopher Zirkling, winners of the very last race of the season in the GT Cup. second appearance, Bashar, and second win. That's not too bad.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here, and it's a fantastic championship. We did win today, but under strange circumstances behind the safety car. My teammate did most of the heavy lifting. I hope the other driver is okay. My whole stint was behind the safety car, but you know, all is well as long as everyone is all right.
And how was the first stint of the race?
It was good, fun battling with Alex, a teammate. I did struggle with the car a little bit in terms of oversteer, but like Bashar was saying, it's nice to win this race. We won the first race in Podium car as well, but not under these circumstances, and I really hope that, that the other driver is okay.
We know he's conscious, so I think that, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
The final race of the season, they came up to the line to race here in Barcelona for the final time. GTL Racing locking out the front row of the grid. Basha Martini and Alex Fontana, who was looking to go 2 in a row. And Dirk Shelton up the inside, up into third place. The first story of the race, apparent brake failure. Smack into the wall goes Christopher Johns, and he was out. That brought out the first safety car. That was before the compulsory driver change. As Dirk Shelton going wheel to wheel with Jan Lauritsen. Fabulous racing, and the newly crowned champion would take him into pit lane. Alex Fontana, the Swiss driver. Jan Lauritsen was closing in after falling back to 8th in the pit stop window. Firstly, going by car 44 of Stefano Zanini. And then this, a monster crash. Jean de Vilde washing up very little speed into the barrier, into the wall. There was damage to the barrier. And also concern for John de Vilde. The race finished under safety car, Basha Mardini and Christopher Zirkling taking victory in the final race of 2022. Victory in the M category and third outright, the Belgian, Nicolas van Dierendonk. There is Alex Fontana, great weekend for him. First yesterday, a second today, denied the chance by the safety car to fight for 2 wins in a row. Does finish P2. It's a 1-2 for GTL Racing, and standing on the top step, Christopher Zirkling and Basha Mardini. From the season start at Paul Ricard in the south of France to Spa-Francorchamps to the Hungaroring in Budapest 3 weeks ago on a very wet Monza. And here the series final at Barcelona in Spain. Jan Lauritsen is the champion, and with that we have raced the 2022 GT Cup Europe Championship. There is Mr. Jesus Pereira, 13 starts at the Le Mans 24-hour race, and now the president of GT Sport Organisation, presenting the third place trophy to Nicolas van Dierendonk, second to Alex Fontana, and Christopher and Basha in first place in the final race of the season. there is the final podium for the final round of the season. It has been a fantastic championship. Thanks for watching. We will see you for the 2023 championship, which kicks off at Spa-Francorchamps on May 27th and 28th in 6 months' time in Belgium. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next year for an all-new edition of the GT Cup Europe Championship.
Sí, doncs atenció que hi tenim més polis. Luego el siguiente podium va a ser el de Pro-Am, luego haremos el de Am y luego el Pro-Am con el Am. Por lo tanto, tendremos 3 podiums más.